Meeting has just started. It's 4 p.m. And in attendance is Ann Brigham, myself, Barbara Bigelow, Chair, Christine Marglin, Christine Robinson, and BZ Riley. The sixth member of the committee is not able to be here today, and that's Elaine Paleo. So we have to end early today because somebody had signed up for the 5 o'clock slot, and I had not realized that you can't have more than one meeting going simultaneously. So Grace had asked if I thought we could end early or reschedule, and I thought ending early was going to be easier. And I'm going to make a guess that our agenda is not going to take us even up to 4:50, but then one never knows. So the first agenda item is a really simple one, which is at the November meeting, I have invited Penny and Gail to come to the meeting so that we can talk about the remaining 3 seasonal walks. I think Gail is not going to be able to come. Penny is not sure if she's going to be able to come, but I think that it's something that I could have a conversation with Penny, I would guess, about her ideas. I know that I don't want to get into the details, but at any rate, but if we just ask everybody to make lists of walks that we might be interested in, either leading or finding somebody who might have some expertise that would be helpful in that walk, then we can talk about that at our next meeting and hopefully kind of set up generally the dates that they would be. So a winter walk, a spring walk, and a summer walk.
I'm sorry, did you say they're, I'm sorry, did you say they're coming? I'm just trying to get this. Coming or they're not coming?
Why don't we just say for the purposes of the minutes that they have been invited to the meeting?
Okay.
Yeah.
And are these walks all to be in Shutesbury proper,
yes.
or can they veer off into Leverett or Wendell or?
Well, I think that's something that we'll need to talk about. When I met with the Open Space Committee, there was real interest expressed in having the walks be completely in Shutesbury, but then I also know really nice walks like up Mount Orient that start in Shutesbury and are in Shutesbury for quite a ways. So I think that we could do both.
Could we just do the minutes
Pardon?
approval? Could we just do the minutes
thank you
approval
so much.
or lack thereof?
Oh, thank you. I forget that on a regular basis. So is there any discussion concerning the minutes from last meeting? Could someone move to accept the minutes?
I move.
And could someone second that?
Sure, I second.
And all in favor, please raise your hand. And for purposes of those who may be watching or hearing this but not seeing it, everybody raise their hand. Thank you, Christine. That will not be the last time you will need to do that. I feel quite certain.
Not a problem.
I'm kind of envisioning for our next meeting that's one of the things that we'll talk about. And I'll send out also just a reminder as well to come in with ideas if you have them. I know last month we talked about some, for example, the waterfall that's near UBZ. I like the idea of going up Mount Orient, walking around the Ames Pond. There are just so many really wonderful walks that we could do. So if we just maybe ahead of time, what I'll do is send out an email just asking people to send their ideas ahead of time so then I can get those distributed to everybody. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah.
Okay. The second agenda item, I wondered I'll just ask. I would like permission from the committee to put out 2 all-town emails about the turkey trot. It is not our event. We are not organizing it. This is being done through a subcommittee made up of me and then some of the friends of the library. But I think it would be a good idea. I would just like personally to be able to promote it a little bit more. We really haven't heard from people in Shutesbury about signing up, and we are really dependent on people in Shutesbury on signing up. At this point, we're doing really well with sponsorships, but not so great with getting people to sign up. We have 44 people, and ideally, it would be great to have 100, but I think anything over 50 or 60, let's say 75, it's going to have a feel of you know, enough people. And it's our first year, and the hot chocolate run, the first year had like 100 people, if even that. So, you know, the first year is always tough, but we really want to get people in Shutesbury to come. Is there any, and would there be any, yeah, easy.
Have there been made an effort to get in touch with all the running groups in people who are like in the running communities in Shutesbury, you know, the coffee cake club, that group. And then, you know, the high school track or cross-country coach lives at the lake, and that, you know, maybe they can get a bunch of high school kids to come
Yeah,
run.
apparently they have a big meet that day.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah, and I've talked with Elaine, and I'm going to be seeing her tomorrow, and I'm going to ask her very specifically to talk to her, because she knows the people in town. And I will draft an email for her to specifically send to them. And I'm pretty, so is John part of the coffee cake club? I don't know.
Yes,
I thought he was. So that'll be, so I was going to kind of hit her up for that. But it's not just running. It's also open to walkers. It's
Right.
what are those things called that you push babies in?
Strollers.
Strollers. Okay, I knew it was a complicated word. It's going to be stroller friendly. There will be walks. Plus, there's going to be a fun run for kids. And we got really great prizes. The Eric Carle Museum gave us about, I don't know, 30, 40 books, which will have as prizes for kids who take part in the fun run.
Great.
So
what about our friend at the school, Steve?
Stephen, you know, yeah, I wanted to thank you for that reminder. I want to send him an email.
I'm sure he would, he's, you know.
He'll talk it up. Yeah, he's good at that kind of thing. So, so talk it up. Hopefully, you know, you'll be interested in participating either as a walker or runner or volunteering. We're looking for volunteers. If you want the link for that, I can, actually what I'll do is just send it out to the committee members. I've picked a very sedentary thing. I'm going to be sitting at a table because I'm not going to be, clearly not running, and probably won't be walking very much at that stage either. So, and there's still, I think there's 5 spots for some reason for that job, and there's only me. So if anybody feels like sitting with me, sign up.
Well, I think I signed up for that.
Oh, you did? Oh, it didn't show up.
Huh. Well, you can put me down for that. I signed up, I thought, to sit with you.
Okay, you probably did. I haven't really quite figured out what's happening, because when I went to look at it earlier today, it was saying that people had signed up, but I wasn't seeing they signed up, only where I had signed up. So I will check with the woman who's doing that. So yeah, so it's, if you want to get information, you go to roadtown.org. It's very easy. And if you haven't seen any of the signs, those signs were designed by Sam Spisiak. She's a very talented artist, and she's just done an extraordinary job with all of the promotional materials that we've used. So it looks very, very professional. The sponsor packet, which we all contributed to the text, but the graphics are Sam's. And it's the kind of document that you just feel like, oh my God, you know, this is high quality. And it was really great. We've gotten $7,000 so far in sponsorship, which for a first race is unbelievable. Yeah, we're very pleased. So is it okay if I send out under, yeah, okay. So everybody.
Barbara, I have a question, and maybe it's outside of the recreation committee, so let me know if it is, and I can follow up with you personally. But Saturday mornings are always tricky for me because I have a standing commitment. But I did think with the turkey trot, I'm just wondering, for these kinds of races, does anyone ever say, hey, are you interested in, for me, it would be walking the race and you want other people to walk with? If you do, sign up here, because that's one of the things I thought about, like a 5K is kind of a long distance to walk by yourself. And so that's one of the deterrents for me, because I thought, oh, if I knew other people who were walking and I could walk with them.
You can walk with me.
You're going to do it?
Yeah,
I thought you were sitting at a table.
Well, I am to sign in, but then I'll walk, come sit at our table, and then when we're done, we can walk.
Yeah.
Oh.
They're not going to be that many people to sign in.
Problem solved, BZ. What else can you solve for me? I do I work out on Saturday morning, so I hate to give that up, but
I know,
might do it.
I do yoga too on Saturday mornings, but I'm gonna give it up for this.
Oh my God, we can be like the give up your regular workout for this workout.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
All right.
But
Anyway,
ask other
so
people
so
too.
personally, my problem solved, but I'm just curious about that. If that might be something that might be keeping people from signing up is they don't want to walk on their own. I don't know. Is that
I
a
don't
thing
know.
or is it just me?
I honestly don't know. I have never signed up and walked a race. So that this will be when I start going back to races and walking them, it'll be a new thing, but I'm usually going with friends. So, I'll know other people who are interested in doing a race, or I'll say, do you want to do this race? And then we'll go off and do the race. So, but it probably is a thing, because I think especially walking more than running, because running is more in your head, kind of alone sort of an activity. Whereas with walking, especially when there's other people around, I don't enjoy walking when everybody else is all paired up and there I am. It's much nicer to have people to talk with, but I've never thought about that. But we could even put out, if you're walking, find a buddy, ask a friend.
And the redefine connection ladies,
Uh-huh.
I bet you could post it on there. I bet you'd get people to do it.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Christine.
Who are the what?
It's-
Do you want to explain it, Anne? It's so many women now.
It's a group that I can't remember Ange's last name, started out of Amherst. Benedetto, thank you. Just of, putting out a general inquiry if there were women who were interested in connecting. Some of it came out of social isolation because of COVID, but then more than that, it looked like people were just interested in connecting anyway. So I could definitely, that's a great idea, Christine. Barbara, I'd be
I'll send you some text.
happy to send something there.
Okay.
Yeah, great idea, Christine.
Yeah, I do the hot chocolate race every year. I've done it for so many years, and it wouldn't be fun doing it alone, because everybody, I remember one year seeing somebody I knew who was alone doing it, but for the most part it's pairs or groups or families or whatever. So yeah, I agree. If I was doing it alone, I thought I might have to do it alone this year, but my same friends want to do it. So yeah.
Wait, are you doing the turkey trot?
No, I'm talking about the hot chocolate,
Okay.
in Northampton. I've been doing that for so many years. I can't do this one, but yeah.
Yeah, one year for the hot chocolate run, I ended up having an injury right before it, and I had to walk, and all the people I was with were running, and I had to do it by myself, and I felt pathetic.
The only year I did it, it was 12 degrees.
Oh my God.
And that was great for me because I have so much body fat. I was like fine. And all these skinny little runners were like, oh my God, it's so cold. They're all like, I'm like, it's fine for me. I'm doing, I did better than a lot of other people. I was like, yeah, maybe you need put a few pounds on, then you could like run in the cold. It was great.
I love it. Okay, well, I'll send that to you, and I'm going to plan to send out 2 all-town emails. So that's our second agenda item. Our third agenda item has actually been on for a while. And it's more here as a prompt to get us to do this perhaps within the next couple of meetings, and that is really determine what exactly we're going to be doing for programming. And are there things that we have done, and actually, why don't we spend a little bit of time talking about that, because we certainly have the time. Are there things that we have done in the past, and there's really the 3, Brian with the invasive plants, the Ancient Pony Farm, and then once to Jefferson Safe Haven. Do we want to keep doing any of those things that we just want to say, yeah, those are on the docket, we're always going to do them? So it's just a question. And then in answering the question, what are some other ideas that people have? Because we have plenty of money to pay people for things. Yeah, busy.
I feel strongly we should try to do some diverse things and not,
Mhm.
I mean, some things we can do, like if we get into this turkey trot thing and do that every year. But I think we should just have some different things going on, because I think you do something for 3 or 4 years, it sort of runs its course, you know? Like, I don't think we need to do the pony farm thing again. And I think, you know, I support the library programming. I mean, I love all the stuff they do. So maybe just jumping on their back, I don't know. And walks, I feel like the walking thing, like special walks, like doing, then, you know, we talked about mushroom walks and fern walks and tree identification and those kinds of things. Educational walks, I guess, I would vote for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Discussion?
what about a mushroom foraging, you know, or identification? Like that would be really good. Easy, do you think it's really outside our realm to do like an art thing? You know how we do like the field day, which has been so successful with
Yeah.
families.
Right. yeah.
What about like a dead of winter indoor art making
Mm.
thing of some, is that just like outside of our?
Well, it's sort of what Mary Ann does at the library. I mean, I've taught all the classes about the arts sort of have come through her. So I wouldn't want to jump, you know, in her way. I don't want to, you know, get in her way. I think that's something we should probably talk to her about it. I don't know. I think
She's been doing a lot of those art making ones too. She's had the fiber series.
yeah,
And then
exactly.
Jeanette's doing the book making and
Right.
but I think if there's an idea we had, to piggyback on what you're saying, BZ, it might be good to just approach Marianne. Like if there was another type of art making
Right.
we wanted to do and say, hey, we were thinking of doing this in terms of the co-sponsorship or something.
Yeah, I think I would just say let her do those, but
Okay.
Well, in terms of the plants, I mean, I think that both times Brian was here, he was really successful. I also think it is nice not to always focus on invasive plants. But I like the idea of doing something else, BZ. This is what you were saying too, that's plant, and Christine, you said this too, like plant specialization. I think that's a really nice focus. So mushrooms, ferns, trees. I know as we get closer to the community gardens, we'll have things around that, but I don't have a specific person or an idea, but I do like that stream of events that.
or even a night sky, you know, star, a star,
Such a good idea.
night, you know, where someone, they do that in Pennsylvania where I live there, in the summer, this guy comes and everybody brings a blanket, sits down on a hill, and you know, he has this great way of like saying, well, here's the constellation so and so, and here's the, you know, so picking a time of a new moon and, you know, having a star identification constellation night would be really fun. I think it's a great family thing to do.
Christine?
Mary Ann had a program quite a few years ago. He's a local guy, and I'm sorry I don't remember his name, but he lives right up by the town green up there, maybe 2 or 3 houses away from the church on that side. He's a bus driver. I don't know his name, but he does that. He's got all the equipment.
For the night sky?
Yeah, because he did it in the back of town hall. Mary Ann had that program, and Mia and I went to it, and it was amazing because he's got a laptop, he's got, you know, the telescope and all the fixins.
Was that in the summertime, Christine? Do you remember?
I want to say fall-ish. It wasn't warm, but the sky's incredible. Like right about now, you look out there when it's a clear night, it's like you could touch it.
Barbara, how can we move this forward? I think that the brainstorming is always really great. And I feel like we leave and we've done brainstorming and it kind of falls to you. So
Well, here's what I think we need to do. I think we need to figure out maybe take some of these, each one of us take one, and then find a person who can do it. And then we proceed to find a time to do it. And we run a mushroom walk. We run a night sky. We do, I mean, I love the idea of bark identification. I'm sure there's others.
When we talked about the mushroom walk at some other meeting, somebody seemed to know a very definite like idea about who could lead that. I remember this youngish woman, mom who had moved here and did it, you know, a few years ago, but somebody had another idea. Do you remember who that person was? Because somebody said there was somebody who could definitely do it.
Yeah, and you had mentioned somebody, wasn't?
Well, my next door neighbor grows shiitake mushrooms, but I don't know that he's a forager.
Hmm.
But
There is
back to what you were
somebody-
saying, Barbara, I don't know anyone other than, like, I'd ask Marianne, and if Marianne did know someone for these things, it'd be a dead end. But can we use our recreation committee newsletter space or our email to say, hey, we want to put on these events. If you're, you know, interested and qualified in leading one, please get in touch. Because I just don't, you know, my word of mouth network is very, very small.
I could put it out on, unless you don't want to use this, because I know some people don't want to use it, but I could put it out on Nextdoor.
Sure.
Specifically for the mushrooms. I'd be interested. And maybe Christine, could you figure out who that guy is, the night sky guy?
Well, I'm going to ask Marianne about all
Yeah.
three because she's had these programs before. She's already got the contact people.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's why, I mean, there was that mushroom walk that I went on was somebody that she had hired, but there were other people that have been mentioned. Maybe it was Elaine who knew somebody. She had
I'm
definitely
seeing-
maybe.
There was a young woman who came in the library when I was there. This was probably a year or two ago, and she had just moved to town, and she was like a
Yeah.
mushroom
Yeah.
she
Maybe
does.
she's the
So I
one.
think Marianne will know.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
my-
and I like co-sponsoring these with her because then we both have our email that's going out and her email that's going out that's saying that this event is taking place. So just a little bit of extra promotion.
Yeah.
Yeah, another thing, when you mentioned your neighbor who grows shiitake, kind of a nice pairing would be to do a foraging and then a workshop on how to grow shiitake mushrooms.
Mm.
It might be kind of, you know, we could have mushroom month or something. That would be May for M. Thank you. You caught it. So I think then okay, so what we want by the next meeting are some names. And I'm not really, I'm going to be more or less sitting around, so I will be able to do some of this, but also, oh, bless you.
Thank you.
You know, if somebody can ask Marianne about the mushroom people who might be good for the mushroom foraging. And then Christine, you're going to find out about the night sky. Yeah.
Yeah, I can ask her about all three: fern, mushroom, and the stargazer guy.
Super. That'd be wonderful.
A person in town too, we might want to think about, Helen Ann Septon has retired from the Hitchcock Center, and she's an amazing person.
Yes.
Great resource of, she'd be a good person to get on our committee, actually, because she just knows so much about the outdoors and people, you know, she's just connected to that whole world. So
Yeah.
Say the name again, please, BZ.
I'll ask her, Helen Ann Septon. I'll ask her if she can,
Okay.
I'll get in touch with her.
When you said that about asking her on, I realized that everything that we're describing is really going to be more interesting to an older audience. And we might also want to think about what would be something that would be fun for kids. You know, what kind of a walk would they enjoy? So just something for us to think about, or to ask people we know who have younger children, what kind of outdoor walk activity would children find entertaining? Because my bet is that mushroom foraging isn't going to be at the top of the list. The night sky would be, like you said.
night skies,
Yeah, everybody loves the night sky.
yeah.
We need someone in Shutesbury to do a corn maze.
With all those cornfields.
I saw one that was done with hay bales that was
Hey,
really,
there you go.
Yeah.
and it was in one of these small towns. They made like a maze out of hay bales, and then, you know, the little kids, it was perfect for them. That was
Yeah.
tall enough for them.
Yeah, that could be a fun fall activity for next year. So, okay, so at this point, because at our next meeting, we'll have names, we'll be able to move ahead then with scheduling things. And so our next meeting really is going to be about identifying the walks, 3 remaining walks, and then setting up the mushroom foraging, the night sky. And then you're going to check with Helen and
I'll chat
Septon.
with Helen Ann, yeah.
Yeah, just see, because there may be something that she would be able to do. And then we'll move forward with these things. And I think we have enough of a budget that we can both be contributing to the programming at the library and paying the people who are leading some of these things. Yeah, Christine?
Did you still want the fern expert person as
Oh,
well?
yeah, thank you.
All right,
Yes.
so I'll ask Mary Ann.
Oh, great. Thank you. You're getting all that stuff for us. Appreciate it.
How about something related to climate change too? Like,
Mm.
I was just thinking about, you know, ways to, I don't know, like our house, we had like a leak in our chimney for the first time in 45 years. And it was because there was so much water, like things you can do to keep your house safe when there's extreme moisture. Like just, or just someone, and again, Helen Ann might know through the Hitchcock Center. Someone who could give a good, you know, this isn't very kid friendly, but a lecture about keeping your house, whatever, ready for all the crazy weather that we're.
Recreation though?
Yeah, I've had the same problem. I've got leaks.
Yeah.
It just doesn't sound like recreation to me.
You don't
Well,
think
that's a
leaks are
good thing.
recreational? My
That's-
God, running around with those buckets?
It sounds very fun.
Isn't your house recreational? I don't know. Is it work?
Mine's not recreation.
Yeah, I actually kind of agree with Christine when you
No,
first.
I do
I
too.
was
She's
thinking
right.
like, you know, I mean, something that has always fascinated me, I don't know whether it would fascinate other people, is that bird watchers have known about climate change a lot sooner than the rest of us, because they were seeing birds coming further north, like
Mm.
40, 50 years ago, they were seeing this.
Mhm.
And so, you know, something like that, just kind of learning what are indicators and what are things that we can, is there anything that we can do with birds who are being kind of pushed out of their regular habitats because of the changing climate?
Well, bird watching, a bird walk would be a good.
Oh, bird walk would be fantastic.
I think Helen Ann can do that. She knows
Okay.
every bird ever.
She sounds like a wonderful resource. Okay, so under her, I'm putting down the bird walk, and then Christine for the night sky person, the mushroom person, and the fern person. Did I get that right? Okay, good. Great, and then we will move, these sound like great activities, and now the other thing is, and Anne, you had mentioned this about having a process for responding to ideas from residents, and I really appreciated it, because the more I thought about, you know, trying to represent Sam, I can't. And so what are your thoughts on it? And ideas that you might have for how we could approach
Well,
this?
I'll just say it came up because during that last meeting, people were asking really good questions, and I felt like I couldn't respond to them. And I also felt like I didn't want to represent Joan. This is about the art fair. And then after the meeting, when I was telling Joan what happened, and you know, that we would be willing to support in terms of putting out an email, but not sponsoring the event, she said that she understood. She was disappointed, but she understood. And she said the only thing that I'm disappointed about or something is that I wasn't allowed to talk to the committee. And I just felt like I never meant that she wasn't allowed. And so it just kind of raised a little bit of an alarm bell.
Yeah.
Because I clearly must have sent that impression that I was representing. So it did make me think. And Barbara, I think it the soccer thing that you were talking about, same thing happened. Like you were suggesting one thing that came from a community member, and committee members had an idea for a different thing that was soccer related, but very different from what you came to the committee with. So, I mean, it could just be as easy a process if a resident approaches someone, we let you know, Barbara, and say, is there a room on the agenda next time? And we tell them they have, we come up with really easy guidelines, like state what you're interested in, if it would cost any money, what you're looking for in terms of resources, and tell them they have however many minutes. But I did think, we have had Brian and Mary Ann come here to talk about their events. So it does seem like there's inconsistency, but I think for me personally, most of it is because I just don't feel comfortable representing a resident's idea when there's really good committee discussion and questions around that idea.
I mean, something you just said made me think that hopefully it's not too late to invite Joan, because when you said that she was disappointed that we wouldn't be sponsoring it, I'm not sure what her expectations are of what does it mean for us to sponsor it. And so I was like, oh, I didn't realize she wanted us to sponsor it. I realized I wasn't sure what exactly she wanted. So it might be worthwhile having her come.
Yep.
We really didn't close a door on it, I think. So,
Well, she did get in touch with me after the meeting.
oh, yeah.
She did write a proposal to the Arts Council,
Yeah.
and I gave her a list of a lot of artists in town who
Great.
have studios, and she seemed very excited. A lot of people said yes, so I think it's gonna happen through the Arts Council, and I don't think anyway, I don't think there's gonna be a lot of costs to doing it.
No, I had mentioned that she never was looking for money. I think what she wanted is this kind of stamp of approval from a committee in Shutesbury, that she felt like it had, it was more professional to have it be sponsored by a committee and really in name only. She wasn't looking for either money or personnel.
Well, I think it's probably going to happen, and we could then say, we'll help sponsor, we'll help get the word out about it.
Yeah.
That would, I think she'd be fine with that.
Mhm. How does that sound to people? That sounds like something we need to take a vote on, of whether we're willing to sponsor this arts event, which would mean advertising, promoting it, having our name associated with it. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Well-
it's not going to happen till June next year, so.
Right. Barbara, I wonder if we should just go back to what you said before, just invite Joan to come.
Yeah,
And just
that would be
say,
great.
What do you need from us?
Yeah, and would you still be interested in having us co-sponsor? Would that be helpful to you, or do you have what you need, or? Yeah,
I mean, maybe wait until she sees if she gets the grant from
Mm.
the Arts Council, but I can't imagine she won't get it, but
are you on that committee, BZ?
I was for like 15 years, then I had to rotate. I rotated on, then off, then on. I've been on it, but I'm not on it now.
Do you know what the timing is of the grant?
The grants are, I think they're due October 15th, and I think
Oh,
yeah, so I'm sure she's already proposed it, and then
Okay.
it probably, there'll be a meeting in a couple weeks, and then she'll probably find out, but by the time we have our next meeting, she probably would know.
Mhm. Our next meeting will be the fourth Tuesday in November. And one of the things, I think one of the priorities for that meeting is to kind of line up what our programming is going to look like. And we now have a whole series of things that we would like to do. So that's going to make it pretty straightforward to do that. So I don't know whether we want to, if she would feel that 15 minutes would be ample. I'm guessing we're going to need about 45 minutes to kind of talk about and determine what the walks will be and timing. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we could invite her then to come for maybe the first 15 minutes of the meeting? Great.
I mean, do we want to wait and see if she gets it from the Arts Council first?
I don't know.
Well, the only thing I'm thinking about, BZ, is just so she could get the date on her calendar. Oh, sorry, Christine. I'm sorry. Get your hand up.
You're muted.
Later.
Christine.
Sorry, I'm talking to Joan after I get off this meeting. And I can ask her if she wants to go to the next meeting.
Okay.
Ask
Um,
her when she thinks she'll hear, I guess, about the grant too.
I applied to the Greenfield one for something I'm doing in Greenfield. I didn't even realize there was a Shutesbury one. I've gotten grants from Greenfield for things I'm doing in Greenfield in the past, and I thought, oh wow, is there any way I can pitch this to Shutesbury? But I realized since it happens in Greenfield, probably not. But since the question that Anne raised, which I think it was a really good one, of just what is the procedure, if we could just get the procedure, I agree 100% that people should be invited to come and present their ideas in about 50 minutes. But we can't, I don't feel we should exclude people who like work or go to school or something during the day and can't come to a 4 to 5 meeting. So maybe we should just say, could you write up your idea if you can't attend a
Mhm.
meeting?
Good
I
idea.
just wouldn't want to exclude people
Yeah,
who,
thank you.
Great point, Christine.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, or people who have little kids, that's just when kids are getting home from school and, you know,
I'm
Not-
thinking about Sam because she'll want to come and talk about the soccer. And she has little kids and they're getting out of school. Sam's
Right.
business.
Well, could it be as simple as what are you proposing and how did you phrase it, BZ? Like, basically, what are you looking, what kind of
what do you
support-
need
from
from
the
us?
committee?
What kind of
Yeah.
support would
Yeah.
you like? Like,
Yeah.
that simple?
Yeah.
I don't,
Yeah, how can we be of support to this idea?
yeah.
And maybe we have a meeting, this would be really radical, but what if we had a meeting at 7 o'clock sometime?
In the morning?
No. Good for you, but we
Yeah.
could have an evening meeting sometime.
Yeah, we could. That's a good idea. Okay. What was I gonna say? Should we just continue with our 4 o'clock meeting for the next one and then see about maybe having different times that we have meetings, so that we can be more accommodating for people.
And Barbara, remind me, when does the next newsletter?
One
Go
just
out.
went out. It's not gonna be for a few months.
Okay,
Yeah, the newsletter really, I don't think is an effective way. There's quite a lag between the time and I didn't send an email about this and I'm sorry. You probably noticed that what was printed was different than what I sent around. And that's because by the time it came out, everything had happened. So it had to be rewritten to reflect that everything had happened. It wasn't talking about something that was going to happen. So I don't really see that as a particularly effective way of letting people know about things, unless what we're doing, like we're going to be doing next time, is saying, here's a series of things that we're going to be doing. And then as we get the dates, we add them. And by the time the next one comes out, some of the events would have happened, but if we have a whole chain of events, then we can use that as a way of letting people know about them. I think all town newsletters are going to be the best way, and partnering with the library on it. So. Okay, so in terms of that as a process, is that something we need to vote on, or is that just, are we okay with saying that we will, when people have ideas, we will invite them to come to the meeting, and if they're unable to do that, to write up their proposal of what it is that they are planning on doing and what it is that they would like from us. Is that right? Okay. In terms of the soccer, just a quick follow-up on that. When I talked to Sam about it, she certainly understood about, and it pretty much would just be parents with young kids getting together and having these soccer practices. She said that what would be nice would be money to buy some pennies, get some balls, cones, things like that. So she will, when she comes, likely want to ask for that. So I did not know last week what it was she had hoped from us, but she was hoping for things like that, not so much us organizing it, but just things that she would need in order to be able to run the practices. Okay, so I would like to step down from chair at the end of this year. And I'm not sure what conversation we need to have about it right now. One is hopefully somebody here would be interested, willing to do it. And if so, can say so now or get a hold of me. And if nobody in the group is interested, then to start thinking about people who would make a good addition to the committee and who would also be good at running the meetings and helping to organize the events. Any comments, thoughts? No, we thought you were going to do this forever.
Well, I've already done it, so.
Yeah, you have, yeah. And I said this to BZ, but I really appreciated her email because you expressed a willingness to do it if you could, and I really appreciated that. But you can't and you shouldn't because you've done it.
Yeah. And with having Eric be selectman, it would not be good to have. They could say there was a conflict of interest if suddenly the select board gave us more money or,
Oh, right.
that-
Yeah, we're not getting enough out of Eric being on the select board.
I know, you're right about that. I think we should
get
vote
that in a
on
minute.
I don't know what we can do.
Well, Barbara, thank you for serving as chair and letting us know about the duration of your tenure. I just recently joined the Shutesbury Personnel Committee, so I am not interested at this time in chairing this committee coming next summer, especially since I'm still working full time.
What does the personnel committee do?
Oh, it's fascinating, BZ. I had no idea. I mean, a lot of it is around coming up with I've been to one meeting, but coming up with the compensation and compensation increases and packages for the town employees. So not necessarily sitting on the hiring committees, but kind of getting some of those handbooks in place. And apparently there hasn't been much in the past. So they've done a lot of work.
Who's head of that committee?
Peg Ross is the facilitator, but George, I don't know his last name, who's on the finance committee.
Arbonitis.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah, he's good.
So
April Stein, I think she's on that committee.
yep, April's on it. Yeah, she's and Melissa.
Well, one idea that I've had is is to just send something to the Thursday night women's laughing old ladies or whatever they call themselves, because one thing that they do talk about is committees that need staffing or leadership. And so I can send an email just saying, we could really use some help in thinking about who might be good. But I think, well, actually, let's start among us. So if you all can just let me know with an email or whatever, if you know of anybody who you think would be good on the committee and could move into this role, that would be great. So
I really can't take it on.
yeah, I kind of didn't think that anybody on the committee right now could do it. So thank you for saying that. But I think that we will be looking outside the committee for somebody who would
Maybe, the laughing old ladies, maybe they would also be a good place to find some volunteers for the race on the 18th.
I'm already doing that. Yeah.
Okay, you already did that.
Mhm. Yep, so, okay, well, that's all she wrote for today. So the big thing for next time will be moving ahead with getting specifics about the walks and the educational walks and just the walks. And perhaps Joan coming to present to us what she would potentially like from us.
Mhm.
Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, thank you all very much. And now Grace will be happy because there's plenty of room between the end of our meeting. Could anybody move to adjourn the meeting?
Sure,
And second, and all in favor, and the minutes note that it is unanimous. Okay,
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
everybody.
Barb.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
bye.
Bye.